Howdy, we are here at beautiful Bosque del Apache in south central New Mexico, and we are photographing birds, and we have a lot of gear with us. But before we take a look at some of the camera bodies and lenses that I use every day, we want to make sure that you're dressed properly. A medium parka, a couple of layers is great, some nice wool hats, warm gloves. Most mornings we're dealing with 15, 20 degrees, so you want to be dressed warm. Arctic Pro muck boots keep me warm and dry, although we don't get wet very much at Bosque. On the really windy days, a rain top and rain pants will keep the wind off you. And then for those balmy, and I mean balmy, 6-degree mornings, a really heavy parka will keep you warm. I'm going to get my tripod. I'll be back in a sec. This is my Gitzo 3532 LS tripod, something I use and depend on every day. Topped by a Mongoose 3.6 action head. It's a side mounting gimbal head, and I use it with all my lenses from 70 to 200 up to 600 millimeter f4. And now we're going to take a look at some of the camera bodies that I own and use pretty much every trip. EOS 1DX professional digital camera body. Been my main full frame body for years. I own 2 of them and depend on them every day. Next up, the 5D Mark III. Wonderful full frame body with big image files, and one of my favorite features is the in-camera HDR. The new kid on the block is the 7D Mark II, a 1.6 crop factor camera. Gets you closer to the birds, fast frame rate, and killer autofocus system. We are now going to take a look at the lenses that I use every day. The 600 f4 is my main weapon. Gives me great reach, and it's fast at f4. Next up is the Canon 200 to 400 millimeter f4L IS with an internal extender. The teleconverter is built into the lens. Amazingly versatile. It gets you from 200 millimeters without the teleconverter to 560 when you're racked out to 400. You can add an external teleconverter to get to 784. I love the 2-to-4 in the Galapagos. I love the 2-to-4 in Antarctica. I love the 2-to-4 in Africa. And I love the 2-to-4 here at Bosque, especially for the pre-dawn blast-offs. Most of the lenses that I work with offer 3 choices of image stabilizer mode, 1, 2, and 3. I pretty much always work with image stabilizer mode 2. It's great when I'm on a tripod, and it's great when I'm following birds in flight. I'm going to take a look at one of my favorite lenses, just own it for about a year, possibly the world's sharpest telephoto lens. And that would be the 300 millimeter f2.8 LIS. Sometimes I get tired of hauling the 600 around, grab the 300, stick 2 teleconverters in a fanny pouch, and take a walk on the beach. And you can do amazing stuff with it, with a full frame camera, with tame birds, and with a 7D Mark II, where the birds are a little more skittish. And again, super, super sharp, great for handheld flight photography. This one's going to Antarctica with me. This is the 100 to 400 millimeter version 2, incredibly versatile, from 100 millimeters out to 400 millimeters, a nice telephoto length, and pair it with the 7D Mark II, and you have a killer starter rig for bird photography. The 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8L version 2, incredibly versatile. This one's pretty beat up because I've used it so much all over the world. Great lens, use it with the 1.4 and the 2x teleconverter with any camera body. And now we're going to take a look at some wide angles. The 24 to 70 version 2 gives us a beautiful spread, meshes nicely with the 70 to 200. And I'm going to be grabbing this thing when we have beautiful sunrise colors, beautiful skies, crazy cloud formations, or huge flocks of birds going over. Pretty much for the same uses, the 16 to 35 millimeter IS gives you just wider coverage. So you have more beautiful clouds, more beautiful sky. You reach for the super wide angle. In addition to the lenses you've seen, Canon makes a slew of great intermediate telephoto lenses. The 300mm f4 LIS, great with the teleconverter, extreme close focus. The 400mm f5.6 L lens, great for flight photography, super sharp. And the 70 to 300mm LIS zoom lens. If you own a super telephoto lens, any of the lenses we just talked about would be great on your shoulder as an auxiliary lens. However, if you're just beginning, any of them would be great as your main bird photography lens. Teleconverter is my most important accessories. When I can't get closer to the birds physically, I add a teleconverter, either the 1.4x3 or the 2x version 3 to give me more focal length. I travel with two 2x's and three 1.4x's. They're that important to me. Okay, now we're going to take a look at some of the stuff in the bottom of the barrel. My Stingray filters. I have a 77mm 3-stop ND for shooting blurs in sunny days. And now even better, I just got this one, the Stingray 5-stop neutral density filter. So in bright sun, I can get to a nice low shutter speed, and it lets you use a wider aperture so you don't spend the rest of your life cleaning dust. For the 24 to 70, I have the 82mm circular warming polarizer for those beautiful clouds in fall and for the occasional rainbow. Great stuff. I use an old t-shirt and a great product called Lens Cleanse for the front elements of the lenses and occasionally on the camera bodies themselves. A little Q-tip with some Lens Cleanse on it to clean the viewfinder. And since I love working at the beach and there's lots of dust blowing around here at Bosque, a soft paintbrush to keep the sand and dust off of your gear. The tripod collar, the tripod ring for the 70 to 200. Something you'll forget often, but when you have a low light situation and you got to get on sticks, the tripod collar can save the day. And this has saved more days than anything. My Toolkit got an assortment of wrenches and little screwdrivers. The vibration of travel will often loosen the screws on teleconverters and lens mounts. Not a bad idea to check them with a fine screwdriver and tighten them up. Pair of light gloves for the rare sunny warm afternoon at Bosque, and extra front and rear lens covers and teleconverter caps. This is the camera body cap, the skinny one, rear cap for the lenses, and then the teleconverters take the fatter front cap. Not a day goes by when I don't realize how blessed I am to live in this time of technology with incredible autofocus cameras, great sharp telephoto lenses. But everybody needs to remember that the cameras and the lenses do not make the pictures. It's the photographer, the person behind the lens. So study your craft. Look at as many great images as you can and get out and take lots of pictures. Make some good ones.